Hi, my name is Gleb Kleiner. I'm a realtor with One Sotheby's International Realty in Miami Beach. And I wanted to thank you for clicking on this link and watching this video. I'm going to take you on a tour of all the great significant investment projects that are happening in Miami that's going to take Miami to the next level. If you can turn your phone sideways, it'll expand to full screen so you can see my screen exactly as I see it. And also, or if you're on a laptop or desktop, there's a little square in the bottom right that you can go full screen. It is a lengthy video. There are a lot of projects that are going on. I'm going to go quickly because I just don't want to take a lot of people's time. But the first thing I just wanted to let everyone know that there's two projects that are moving forward in Miami that are considered the largest development projects in the world. So the first one is called American Dream Miami. This is going to be the second largest shopping mall in the United States. There originally was supposed to be the largest, but I guess they scaled it down. But it is going to be a $4 billion project, and it is moving forward. And I'll show you where it is. It's over here. So for example, I don't know how well you know the map, but here's Miami Beach, and if you take this Highway 27 to over here and to the 75, you will find that this is where American Dream Miami Beach is. Without traffic, this is about a half-hour trip, or if you're coming from the north, you can go. So this is American Dream Miami. It's $4 billion. It is moving forward. It'll probably be ready in about 5 years. And it is going to have everything: a water park, amusement park, ice rink, ski slopes, 2,000 hotel rooms, retail, you name it. So that's moving forward. The second thing that is considered the second the other one of the largest projects in development in the world is something called Miami World Center. And this is going to be also a couple thousand hotel rooms. This is about 10 square blocks in downtown, and I'll show you where that is also. So here I'm going to zoom in. This is the Port of Miami, and over here you have just I don't know to what degree you know the map, but over here we have Brickell, and over here is pretty much downtown Miami. This is American Airlines Arena, where we have all our biggest concerts and basketball. Just quickly, for those who don't know, this is the new Frost Science Museum, which I highly recommend if you haven't been yourself or take your kids. This is the Perez Art Museum. Over here we have this area called Wynwood now, which is the wall art area. So if you haven't been, I highly recommend you go there. It's an incredible thing. And then over here we have the Arts and Entertainment District, or Design District as it's also called. So this area of downtown, just also, by the way, this is all called Edgewater, and there's a ton of high-rises there that have been built recently. And this is the new Zaha Hadid building called 1000 Museum, and this is an incredible building. In any event, okay. So just to while we're here in downtown, I wanted to quickly show. Well, let me stay on point. Miami World Center. So this is the site, and they've already built the Paramount, which is finished. And if you drive by, you'll see it. It's absolutely spectacular. These satellite pictures are a little old. So this is Miami World Center. This is, as I mentioned, another $4 billion project that is going to completely transform downtown Miami. The city has also approved. Here's some more about it in another link. All these links I include below. But in any event, the city has approved to go right next to the Miami World Center. It's called the Miami Signature Bridge, And here's some pictures of it. It's this is an $800 million project that has been approved, and it's going to be ready within 5 years. And basically what they're doing is this section of the highway is going to be raised much higher. Because in the 60s, the federal government put this highway through this area, and whatever the economy was here was negatively impacted by the highway cutting right in between. So this has been a long-standing issue. So to revitalize this area, they're going to raise this stretch of highway, and they're going to put the signature bridge right here. So this is going to be Miami's Golden Gate Bridge, and underneath it, they're putting something called the Miami Underline. It's a 10-mile linear park, urban trail, and living art destination. And so basically, it's going to go from here to this, before and after. And it's a $150 million project. They're about 100 million raised so far, and that's actually all moving forward. That's been approved. Also in this area here, this is an area called Bayside. This is a mall called Bayside. And on this spot, they're going to put another major attraction called SKYRISE, Miami SKYRISE. And this is an observation deck. It's not a condo. It's kind of like the Space Needle, I guess, in Seattle. But it's also an entertainment center. Vertical entertainment center. It's going to have rides, and it's 1,000 feet high. So here are some pictures of it. So this is the ride. So that's SKYRISE Miami. That's also been approved in this area. Another thing in the area that's going forward is the WALDORF Astoria is in pre-sales for a 98-story condo hotel. And that's here are some images of that. So that's also going in downtown. So all of this investment is in line with the population projections for Miami, the increase in population projections for Miami. There's reports that we're going to grow to 22 million within a few years. There's other reports that we're going to go to 26 million by 2030. This has to do with our economy. This has to do with our tax structure here. This has to do with also the aging population around the world, and around the United States, but around the world that wants to come for the warmer weather. And on top of that, our tourist numbers are through the roof. We have a record-breaking 16.5 million overnight visitors. So the investment community has recognized this, and it's taking Miami to the next highest levels. David Beckham has started a football league here, a football team here that's part of the Major League Soccer. And right now, they're starting their season in Fort Lauderdale, but they are looking to build a major stadium here in Miami. It's going to be called Freedom Park. So here's a clip of it. So this is David Beckham's project that he's looking for a site in Miami for his stadium. It's going to be called Miami Freedom Park. And it's not just 25,000 person stadium. It's also going to be a community center with lots of soccer fields and community involvement, tournaments, retail, hospitality, also hotels, etc. So he is shopping for a site, and he's been looking for a site for a long time. But in the meantime, they are starting in Fort Lauderdale, and their season starts in a few weeks. Another exciting thing coming to Miami is Formula One. Formula One was voted out. It was blocked, and now it just got unblocked. So that's something that's coming to Hard Rock Casino, and that is going to be a major global event to see Formula One Grand Prix coming out of Miami. Back to downtown Miami for a minute. There's a train station here called Brightline that Richard Branson, Virgin, purchased, and we call Virgin Trains. Right now, the trains, it's a high-speed train. It goes to Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach. But they are putting tracks down to Disney World. So you will be able to go to Disney from downtown Miami in approximately 2 hours and 20 minutes. The train goes 125 miles an hour. And what's great is that because the Port of Miami is literally right here, you'll be able to, very nice ships. This Port of Miami is the largest passenger port in the United States. We see about 6 million annual passengers here. And so you'll be able to go on a cruise. A family of tourists will be able to go on a cruise, take a 5-minute Uber to the Virgin train station, grab a train, and be in Disney World in 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's really incredible what's happening here. Next up, I wanted to, while we're talking about the Port of Miami, just for a little bit of Miami history, a lot of people don't know, but this Biscayne Bay was actually all about approximately 6 inches deep 100 years ago. So they wanted to make a port and they wanted to dredge it. And so they dredged here. And all of the soil they used to create this, it's called Dodge Island, took the Port of Miami. So this whole thing was not here. This was just water. And also they used the sand, the dirt from underneath Biscayne Bay to create these man-made islands, Palm Island, Hibiscus, Star, and the Delito Islands. So this is something that people don't realize that none of this was here. And Fisher Island used to be connected to Miami Beach. And this is called government cut, because this is what they had to do to create the Port of Miami. The reason I bring it up is because of the sea level rise. A lot of people are worried that Miami won't know how to deal with water. But what they don't realize is that the technology 100 years ago let us create all these beautiful islands, create the Port of Miami. And now, with so much advance notice, we're able to create, implement significant infrastructure improvement projects. So Miami Beach has spent in the last 4 years $500 million to raise about 21 city blocks. They've installed about 80 water pumps underneath the ground. And they've also raised seawall heights in various parts of Miami Beach. Miami is doing similar type projects. And this was recognized by Standard & Poor's and Moody's investment rating system, who came and evaluated Miami Beach and gave it a very high AA+ long-term ratings on bonds, and citing a strong economy, management, etc., etc. But specifically, it talks about that the city has attempting to address climate change risks, and that's something that Standard & Poor's and Moody's positively acknowledged. Also, Standard & Poor's gave Miami Beach's city investment program the highest possible rating. Here it says here, this is a letter from the city manager to the mayor, the highest possible rating from the city's investment portfolio. So in addition to that, FEMA reevaluated our insurance. We say we're saving a couple $1 million a year as a city on insurance based on all the infrastructure improvements. So that's something that is a positive result from the climate change and sea level rise negative news that's coming, in that Miami and Miami Beach, we have the tax base to make these infrastructure improvements, whereas a lot of coastal cities around the world and other countries don't. And so the investment community, when looking for the coastal cities, coastal investments, which are our favorite place to invest, have identified that Miami is a place that's here to stay, and we will outperform and outcompete other cities that are mitigating against sea level rise, and we have the political will to do it, and most importantly, we have the money to do it, and we have $1 trillion worth of real estate here to defend. So what has been a positive about the infrastructure improvements to mitigate against sea level rise is that with all the extra pumps and drainage, we're actually able to deal with the thing that is more important to us, which is hurricanes. So having 80 pumps and having seawalls and having raised streets are all things that are going to help us with hurricanes as well. And that's really our main concern in general in South Florida. I also want to point out, just while we're looking at this map, you look at Florida and South Florida, there's just this sliver of developed land here. Here you have the Everglades, Everglades National Park, which is federally protected subtropic area that cannot be developed. And that's one of the reasons why the prices here are as high as they are, because the supply is very low compared to other states. For example, you look at Texas, it's like 800 miles by 900 miles, and South Florida is just literally this piece. So that's something to consider. The other thing which is great, so because of all this work that the cities have been doing, banks and underwriters are lending here. Bell Harbor Shops is getting $500 million to expand. Bell Harbor Shops is one of the highest grossing malls in the United States per square foot. You have Miami Beach Convention Center did a $600 million renovation, which is the home of Art Basel and many other conventions annually that draw 50,000, 100,000 people to our city, and it's something we haven't had in 30 years. And this is one of the reasons that our tourist numbers have gone up, is because of the convention center and other things like that we're finally upgraded and are able to provide to the tourist public. Moving quickly here, I'm just going to try to wrap up. In Miami Beach, they figured out a way to connect this part of the beach, this side of Miami Beach, with all of this. So there is a space here that's being developed from here to here. Russell Galbert is the developer, and they're, in exchange for being allowed to put a 44-story high-rise here, he's building a city park and retail here that he's donating to the city, and they're going to build a pedestrian bridge here, so you will be able to bike ride or rollerblade or walk or jog from here through here down to the South Point Park, and this boardwalk goes all the way to Bell Harbor. There's two great buildings here that I love, Icon at South Beach and Marana Grande. Good buildings, great buildings here. This is, by the way, the Miami Beach Marina. This is a terrific building here called Yacht Club at Portofino. This is another one. I have, God willing, a closing next month here at Marana at Portofino. And this is the famous Apogee, where there's condos for $13 million and more. In all these places, it's $4 or $5 million easily, although here you can get a 2-bedroom for like 1.7, 1.6, 1.5. This is a great building called Portofino Tower, which has gone it's done about 4 years of renovation, but they're finishing very soon. And same with South Point Tower. They've just been totally renovated, and the prices are actually very attractive here in Portofino Tower because they've been having a tough time. They're finishing up the renovations on these 2 buildings. This one will be done within 6 to 8 months. This one probably has another year and a half. Random projects, but these are terrific buildings. These are the 2 Continuum towers that are Continuum South, Continuum North. Smith and Walensky's, this famous restaurant here, highly recommend. And there's a park and a pier. So, so this pedestrian bridge that they're going to make to connect this is it's going to be a very pretty bridge. So, and also I want to just show you this park.
The mayor and the commission challenged us to come up with something that would be more community-minded. Something that could lower the density and lower the intensity of the approved project. And something that could be a contribution to our community. A public park, the completion of the beach walk to the boardwalk, so that we could have a continuous circumference of South Beach. The park itself, the city determined, has a value of over $80 million. Here, they're getting it for free. That gives real value, real importance to this project.
So this was the video that Mr. Galbut used to help explain the project to the city, and everyone's excited about it. So Miami Beach has a great future. Miami has a great future. There's a lot of incredible things happening here. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. And I'm happy to meet you when you come to town so I could show you more of this incredible city and help you buy some property here. Thank you. Take care.